Hi, Amos here with the Audio-Technica W1000Z wood-cupped headphones. Now, if you haven't already seen my unboxing video of these headphones, please do check it out. I'll put a link at the bottom of the video so you can jump over to that if you want to have a look at what's in the box. But today I'm just going to concern myself with the design and the sound. Now, Audio-Technica, of course, has something of a history with wood-cupped headphones, going back as far as I remember 2002 with the W2002 limited edition model, which is very hard to find nowadays. And of course culminating in the now production W1000Z and the limited edition W3000 anniversary model. Now, of those, the design of Audio-Technica's wood headphones, of course we still have the W5000s and W1000X in production, and the design really hasn't changed that much over the years. You have the current aluminium frame, and you have your dual arcs, wood cups, and your head pad system using these wings, which automatically adjusts to your head shape. Now, in that, there are some interesting differences and similarities in the design of these headphones. For first of all, I had the W3000 anniversaries, and like the W5000s, they had the thin metal arcs, thinner than these ones here, and that seemed to be somewhat of a newer style, and of course easier to bend and adjust to your head, which I'll talk about in a minute. However, these have the older style, like you see on, say, the AD2000, AD2000Xs, with the thicker and harder to bend metal. Also, a recent thing in the Audio-Technica line was thicker and different shaped pads, which you see on the W1000Xs. However, these seem to have the old style, flatter style pads. However, they are angled somewhat. If I turn them around, you can see that the frame, when you put them on, the frame has a thicker part at the back, which is thinner at the front, and this causes the pads to be angled slightly relative to the cups. And this should be fairly visible as I turn them around and you have a look. Now, also in the latest models, they're angling the drivers. So I don't know how clearly you can see in here if I hold it up to the camera, but if I stick my finger in here at the front, the drivers are a fair way back. But at the back, they're close to your ear. And of course, this would help if I held them round the right way. This is the left side and that's the right. So front, very far in, and back, not very far in at all. And that gives it, along with the pad angling, gives quite an angle to the drivers, and of course improves the sound staging, just like you do with, say, HD800s, which also have very angled drivers. Now, onto that, an important thing about the sound is that unless you get a good seal, you won't get good bass response. So to that end, when they come out of the box, you'll notice that they come out with very circular shaped arcs, more like this. And this, of course, has them the pads touching under your ear, but leaving a gap at the top. And that gives a bad seal and bad bass response. So out of the box, you have to give some adjustment, as I have to these, some firm finger pressure on the arcs here to bend them a bit straighter here and a bit more bent at the top. And you have something of an oval shape you can see here. Now, the default layout with the very circular shape is good if you have a very large head, and you'll get a seal if you have a very large head, but not if you've got an average size head or average size head like mine or a small head. So after adjustment, now if I put them on my head, I do get a very nice, comfortable seal. Just a barely touching seal, but that's enough for me to get a good bass response. And of course, that's very important for their sound signature. Now, the easiest way to talk about the sound signature of the W1000Zs is the older genre of music that you listen to, the better they will sound. And the more modern the genre they listen to, the worse they will sound. They have a very, I would say, tending towards a brighter sound with less bass, which works very, very well with orchestral music. With all the angling done on the drivers and the pads, you get a very spacious image of the orchestra with fairly precise instrument placement. And especially the drums at the back in a good venue will come through very, very nicely with just the right amount of impact. However, with more modern recordings which are brighter, they'll tend to sound very bright and fatiguing. They do still carry that Audio-Technica forward mid sound, so vocal and small jazz sound will still be quite good with them. But if you're looking for the kind of bass thumping sound like you got with the L3000s or that kind of thing, you're not going to get that with these. This is definitely more geared towards like a classical and orchestral works for sure. That being said, one thing I did find that was a problem with the sound of them was they seem to have some kind of a ringing in the treble, and that is a resonance which makes instruments such as piano sound slightly harsh in the treble. So that is one downside. And even with my good old studio Audio-Technica Studio 6 at the back here, which I've put slightly warmer tubes into to accommodate for the headphones I have. There's still, the treble comes through a tiny bit too harsh on instruments for my preference, but all the same not too bad. That being said, they do, like many Audio-Technica headphones, pair best with a slightly warm tube amp, which is what I've set up here. And that is where they work best. With very accurate, precise solid state amps, you may find them a little bit too harsh and fatiguing because of that treble. But all the same, if you do listen to very good classical recordings, these are a very nice pair of headphones. Of course, be careful not to scuff the cups. And they do come with quite a generously long cable. So if you need to sit back from a hi-fi system, like many people do, then you should have plenty of cable to work with, terminating in this nice wood plug. So that overall is the W1000Z. Still very nice sounding again with orchestral, and not so great sounding with modern music. So if you're looking for a bass thumping Audio-Technica pair of headphones, you might want to consider other models. However, if you're looking for, if your dad's a classical musical listener like mine was, and want to get a present for him, if I was to get him a pair of headphones now, if he was still alive, to give to him to listen to classical music, I'd probably get him a pair of these. Anyway, again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you online.